Every morning, you are handed 1,440 minutes of pure potential. Most people return them unused by evening, wondering why their dreams remain dreams. You want to know what separates the successful from the struggling. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not connections, or capital, or circumstances. It's this: successful people understand that every single minute is a choice, and every choice is creating their future. Right now, as you sit here, your life is the exact mathematical result of how you've spent your time up to this moment. Your bank account, your relationships, your health, your happiness, all of it stems from the accumulated choices you've made with your 1,440 daily minutes. But here's what most people refuse to accept. They treat time like it's unlimited. They act as if tomorrow is guaranteed. They waste today's minutes waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. And then they wonder why their lives never change. Let me tell you about Sarah. 3 years ago, she was working a job she hated, coming home exhausted, spending her evenings scrolling through her phone, complaining about her life but doing nothing to change it. Sound familiar? She was living the same day 365 times and calling it a year. Then one morning, Sarah looked at herself in the mirror and asked a simple question: if I keep living exactly like this, where will I be in 5 years? The answer terrified her. She would be in the exact same place, just 5 years older and 5 years more frustrated. That day, Sarah made a decision that changed everything. She decided to account for her time the same way she accounted for her money. She started tracking where her 1,440 minutes actually went. What she found shocked her. She was spending 2 hours every evening on her phone. That's 730 hours per year. Nearly a month of her life every year, mindlessly consuming content that added nothing to her growth, her goals, or her happiness. Sarah took those 2 hours and redirected them. 1 hour went to learning skills that would advance her career. The other hour went to building a side business. Within 18 months, she had doubled her income and gained the confidence to leave her dead-end job. Now, before you dismiss Sarah's story as lucky or exceptional, let me ask you something. Show of hands. How many of you have ever said, I don't have time for something you really wanted to do? Keep your hands up if you've watched television or checked social media in the past week. That's what I thought. You don't have a time problem. You have a priority problem. You have a choice problem. You have a consciousness problem. The truth is this: you have the same 24 hours as every successful person who has ever lived. The same 1,440 minutes that built empires, created masterpieces, and changed the world. The difference isn't in what you have, it's in how you use what you have. Most people live their lives unconsciously. They wake up and react to whatever demands their attention. They check their phone first thing in the morning, letting other people's priorities dictate their day. They arrive at work and spend their time on urgent but unimportant tasks. They come home tired and collapse in front of a screen until bedtime. This is not living. This is existing. This is drifting through life, hoping something good will happen to you, instead of making something good happen. Successful people operate differently. They understand that personal growth isn't an event, it's a process. It's not what you do once that matters, it's what you do consistently that creates your results. Think about farming for a moment. A farmer doesn't plant seeds one day and expect to harvest the next. He plants seeds knowing that with consistent care, proper conditions, and time, those seeds will grow into something valuable. But here's the key: the farmer must tend to his crops every single day. One day of neglect can set back weeks of progress. Your life operates on the same principle. Every minute you invest in personal growth is a seed. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every positive habit you build, these are seeds that compound over time into extraordinary results. But most people want to plant seeds today and harvest tomorrow. When they don't see immediate results, they quit. They abandon their growth for instant gratification. They choose entertainment over education, comfort over challenge, easy over excellent. Consider this: if you read just 30 minutes every day, you'll complete roughly 50 books per year. In 10 years, that's 500 books. Do you think someone who has absorbed the wisdom of 500 books will live the same life as someone who has absorbed the wisdom of 0 books? The compound effect of daily growth is mathematically certain, but it requires patience, consistency, and faith in the process. It requires you to make choices today that your future self will thank you for. Here's another way to think about it. Every hour of your day is like a brick. At the end of each day, you've laid 24 bricks. At the end of each year, you've built a structure of 760 bricks. The question is, what kind of structure are you building? Are you building a prison of bad habits and wasted time? Are you building a foundation of mediocrity? Or are you deliberately constructing a life of purpose, growth, and achievement? Most people never ask this question. They just keep laying bricks randomly, wondering why their life lacks structure, stability, and meaning. Successful people are different. They have a blueprint. They know what they're building. Every brick, every hour, is placed with intention. They understand that the quality of their life is determined by the quality of their daily choices. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. The average person wakes up and immediately checks their phone. They start their day by consuming other people's thoughts instead of generating their own. They begin reactively instead of proactively. A successful person wakes up and spends the first hour of their day on personal development. They might read, exercise, plan their day, or work on their most important project. They start their day by growing themselves instead of entertaining themselves. The average person arrives at work and spends the first hour drinking coffee, chatting with colleagues, and easing into their day. They give their best energy to socializing and their leftover energy to producing. A successful person arrives early and attacks their most important work when their energy and focus are at their peak. They understand that the first 3 hours of the day are worth more than the last 8 hours combined. The average person spends their lunch break scrolling through social media or complaining about their job. They use their break to drain their energy instead of recharge it. A successful person uses lunch to learn something new, plan their afternoon, or network with people who can help them grow. They treat every hour as an opportunity to move forward. The average person comes home exhausted and spends their evening on passive entertainment. They watch other people live interesting lives on television instead of creating an interesting life themselves. A successful person comes home and invests their evening in activities that build their future. They might take a course, work on a side project, exercise, or spend quality time with family. They understand that how they spend their evening determines how they'll spend their life. The average person goes to bed whenever they feel like it, often staying up too late and sacrificing tomorrow's energy for tonight's entertainment. A successful person has a consistent bedtime because they know that rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity for peak performance. They sacrifice tonight's temporary pleasure for tomorrow's productivity. These differences might seem small, but compounded over time, they create completely different lives. One pattern creates mediocrity, frustration, and regret. The other creates growth, achievement, and fulfillment. The choice is yours. Every minute of every day, you're choosing which pattern to follow. You're choosing which life to build. You're choosing who to become. But here's what you must understand. These patterns become automatic. Once you establish them, they run your life, whether you're conscious of them or not. This is why most people feel like their lives are out of control, because they've never consciously chosen their patterns. The foundation of personal power is recognizing that you are always choosing. Even when you don't make a choice, you've chosen not to choose. Even when you follow old patterns, you've chosen to follow them. Even when you feel powerless, you're choosing to feel powerless. This recognition is simultaneously the most uncomfortable and most liberating truth you'll ever accept. Uncomfortable because it means you can't blame anyone else for your results. Liberating because it means you have the power to change your results. Your life is not happening to you. Your life is responding to you. Every minute is a vote for the person you're becoming. Every choice is shaping your future. Every habit is creating your destiny. The question is not whether you have the time to create the life you want. The question is whether you have the wisdom to use the time you already have. And that wisdom begins with understanding that success follows laws, just like everything else in the universe. These laws are not mysterious or complex. They're as predictable as the seasons, as reliable as the sunrise, as certain as gravity. Once you understand them, you can work with them instead of against them. Once you recognize them, you can use them to accelerate your progress, instead of wondering why you keep hitting the same obstacles over and over again. Here's the first law. Life operates in cycles. Everything in nature moves in patterns. The tides, the seasons, your energy levels, even your opportunities. Most people fight these cycles. Successful people flow with them. Right now, think about your own life. Have you noticed that certain types of opportunities seem to come in waves? That your motivation and energy naturally fluctuate? That challenges often cluster together, followed by periods of breakthrough and growth? This isn't coincidence. This is pattern. And once you recognize the pattern, you can prepare for it, capitalize on it, and use it to your advantage. Let me explain how this works. Every 90 days, your life resets. Every quarter brings new energy, new possibilities, new chances to change direction. Successful people understand this rhythm. They plan their major goals and changes around these natural reset points. They don't try to sustain peak performance for a full year. They think in quarters. When you're in a high energy cycle, you push hard. You take on new challenges, start new projects, make bold moves. When you're in a low energy cycle, you consolidate. You complete existing projects, rest,
plan, and prepare for the next wave of opportunity. The average person does the opposite. They push when they should rest, and rest when they should push. They start new projects when their energy is low, and abandon them when their energy returns. They fight their natural rhythms instead of working with them. Here's the second law. Every problem contains the seed of an equal or greater opportunity. This isn't positive thinking. This is mathematical fact. The bigger the problem you can solve, the greater the reward. The more difficult the challenge you can overcome, the more valuable you become. Most people run from problems. Successful people run toward them. They understand that problems are not punishment, they're promotion opportunities. Every challenge is asking you one question: are you ready to grow to the next level?
When you encounter a difficult situation, you have two choices. You can ask, why is this happening to me? Or you can ask, how is this happening for me? The first question makes you a victim. The second question makes you powerful. Show me someone who constantly faces obstacles, and I'll show you someone who's constantly being invited to grow. Show me someone who lives a comfortable, problem-free life, and I'll show you someone who's stagnating. The third law: your external results are always a perfect reflection of your internal patterns. Change the pattern, change the result, keep the pattern, keep getting the same result. This is why willpower alone never works. You're fighting against established patterns with temporary effort. Your patterns run deeper than your conscious mind. They operate automatically, below the level of awareness. Most people try to change their results without changing their patterns. They want different outcomes while maintaining the same thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors that created their current outcomes. This brings us to the greatest enemy of progress: self-sabotage. Every person in this room has experienced it. You set a goal, you start making progress, then somehow you find yourself back where you started. You commit to a new habit, maintain it for a few weeks, then mysteriously abandon it. You decide to change your life, take a few steps forward, then take 3 steps back. Why does this happen? Because your current patterns are comfortable. They're familiar. Even if they're not serving you, they're known. And your mind will always choose the known over the unknown. Comfort over growth, familiar over foreign. Self-sabotage shows up in predictable ways. Let me name them so you can recognize them when they appear in your life. The first form is excuse making. Every time you say, I don't have time, you're making an excuse. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, you're making an excuse. Every time you say, I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't have the resources, I don't know the right people, you're choosing excuses over action. Here's what successful people know about excuses. They're infinite. You can always find a reason not to do something. There will always be obstacles, limitations, and challenges. The question is not whether these obstacles exist. They do. The question is whether you're bigger than your obstacles, or your obstacles are bigger than you. Raise your hand if you've ever used the excuse, I don't have enough experience. Keep it up if you've also said, I need more experience, but then avoided opportunities to gain experience. That's self-sabotage. You say you need experience, but you avoid the very activities that would give you experience. You create a circular problem with no solution, then use that problem as justification for inaction. The second form of self-sabotage is procrastination. This isn't laziness, it's fear. You procrastinate on the things that matter most, because those are the things that could change your life. And changing your life means leaving your comfort zone. It means becoming someone new. It means facing the possibility of failure. So instead of taking action on important things, you stay busy with unimportant things. You organize your desk instead of making sales calls. You research instead of implementing. You plan instead of executing. You feel productive while producing nothing of value. Procrastination is perfectionism in disguise. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right time, the right circumstances, the right knowledge, but there is no right time. There are only moments when you choose to act, and moments when you choose to wait. The third form of self-sabotage is blame. Every time you blame your circumstances, your past, your boss, your spouse, your parents, or your government for your results, you give away your power. You make yourself a victim of forces beyond your control. You eliminate your ability to change your situation. Blame feels good in the moment because it removes responsibility. It's not your fault, so you don't have to do anything about it. Someone else created the problem, so someone else needs to fix it. But blame is expensive. The price you pay for the temporary relief of blame is the permanent loss of power. Successful people take responsibility for everything in their lives, not because they caused everything, but because taking responsibility gives them the power to change everything. They understand that blame and power cannot coexist. You can have one or the other, but never both. When something goes wrong, They ask, what could I have done differently? When something goes right, they ask, how can I do more of this? They focus on what they can control instead of what they cannot control. Now, how do you eliminate these self-sabotaging patterns? How do you break free from the mental habits that keep you stuck? First, you must catch yourself in the act. You cannot change what you cannot see. Most self-sabotage happens unconsciously. You make excuses without realizing you're making excuses. You procrastinate without acknowledging you're procrastinating. You blame without recognizing you're blaming. The solution is awareness. Start paying attention to your automatic responses. When faced with a challenge, what's your first thought? When presented with an opportunity, what's your immediate reaction? When things don't go your way, where does your mind go first? Track your patterns for 1 week. Every time you make an excuse, write it down. Every time you procrastinate, note what you avoided and why. Every time you blame someone or something else, record it. At the end of the week, you'll have a clear picture of how you sabotage yourself. Second, you must question your patterns. Ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Is this behavior moving me toward my goals or away from them? Am I acting from fear or from power? Most of your self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors made sense at some point in your life. They protected you from something, helped you avoid pain, or kept you safe. But what protected you in the past might be limiting you in the present. The excuse, I'm not smart enough, might have protected you from the pain of trying and failing in school. But now it's protecting you from opportunities for growth and success. The procrastination that helped you avoid difficult tasks as a child is now preventing you from achieving your adult goals. Third, you must replace destructive patterns with constructive ones. It's not enough to stop doing what doesn't work. You must start doing what does work. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you eliminate a negative pattern without installing a positive one, the negative pattern will return. When you catch yourself making an excuse, immediately follow it with an action. When you notice yourself procrastinating, do the most important task for just 5 minutes. When you feel the urge to blame, ask yourself what you can learn from the situation. Create new automatic responses. Instead of I don't have time, say this isn't a priority right now. Instead of I can't, say I haven't learned how yet. Instead of it's not my fault, say what can I do about this? The fourth step is to change your environment. Your environment is constantly programming your behavior. If you want to change your patterns, you must change your surroundings. Remove temptations. If you procrastinate by watching television, remove the television from your workspace. If you waste time on your phone, put it in another room while you work. If certain people encourage your excuses and blame, limit your time with them. Add positive triggers. Put your goals where you can see them. Surround yourself with books, quotes, and images that remind you of who you're becoming. Spend time with people who hold you accountable for your growth. The fifth and final step is to practice new patterns until they become automatic. Change requires repetition. You must consciously choose the new pattern over and over until it becomes unconscious. You must override years of conditioning with consistent, deliberate practice. This is not easy. Your old patterns will fight back. They will try to convince you that change is too hard, too risky, too uncomfortable. They will offer you every excuse, every rationalization, every justification for staying the same. But here's what you must remember. Every successful person has walked this same path. Every person who has achieved something significant has faced these same internal battles. The difference is that they fought and won. They chose growth over comfort, action over excuses, responsibility over blame. You have the same choice. You can continue following patterns that keep you stuck, or you can install new patterns that move you forward. You can keep sabotaging your progress, or you can eliminate the thoughts and behaviors that limit your potential. The patterns are either working for you or against you. They're either creating the life you want or the life you're settling for. They're either building your future or destroying it, but they're never neutral. Every pattern has consequences. Every choice creates results. Every thought leads to action or inaction. The question is not whether you'll follow patterns. You will. The question is whether you'll choose your patterns consciously or let them choose you unconsciously. Whether you'll master your mental habits or let your mental habits master you. The moment you decide to choose your patterns consciously, everything changes. But consciousness without action is merely good intention. Knowledge without implementation is useless information. Understanding principles without applying them will leave you exactly where you started. So let's talk about the specific daily disciplines that separate those who succeed from those who struggle. These are not complex strategies or advanced techniques. They are simple practices that anyone can do. The power lies not in their sophistication, but in their consistency. Who here has a morning routine? Keep your hands up if you follow it every single day, including weekends. Most hands just went down. And that tells you everything you need to know about why most people get average results. They treat success like a part-time job. They apply discipline when they feel like it, and abandon it when they don't. Successful people understand that extraordinary results come from ordinary actions performed consistently. They don't wait for motivation to take action. They take action to create motivation. They don't practice discipline when it's convenient. They practice it especially when it's not. Your morning routine is the foundation of your entire day. How you spend your first hour determines how you'll spend your next 23 hours. Most people wake up and immediately check their phone, putting themselves into reactive mode. They start their day by consuming other people's thoughts instead of generating their own thoughts. This is backwards. The first hour of your day should belong to you and your growth. No phone, no email, no news, no external inputs, just you, working on becoming the person you need to become to achieve your goals. Here's what this looks like in practice. Set your alarm for 1 hour earlier than usual. Use that hour for personal development. Read for 30 minutes. Exercise for 20 minutes. Spend 10 minutes planning your day with clear priorities. But I'm not a morning person, you say. That's just a story you tell yourself to justify sleeping in. Morning people aren't born, they're made. They're created through consistent practice, not natural talent. Every successful person I've studied has a morning routine. They might wake up at different times, they might do different activities, but they all protect their mornings from the demands of the world. They understand that controlling their morning gives them control over their entire day. After your morning routine comes what I call the power hour. This is one focused hour dedicated to your most important work. Not urgent work, important work. Not busy work, valuable work. Not reactive work, proactive work. The power hour happens when your energy and focus are at their peak. For most people, this is sometime between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. You identify the one task that would make the biggest difference in your life if completed, and you work on it for 1 uninterrupted hour. No phone calls, no meetings, no emails, no interruptions, just you and your most important work. 1 hour of focused effort is worth more than 8 hours of distracted effort. 1 hour of deep work produces more value than an entire day of shallow work. Most people never experience this because they never protect their time. They let other people's priorities interrupt their priorities. They respond to every email, answer every phone call, attend every meeting. They stay busy but accomplish nothing significant. To implement the power hour, you must become comfortable with saying no. You must disappoint some people to avoid disappointing yourself. You must protect your time as fiercely as you protect your money, because time, unlike money, cannot be earned back once it's spent. Block this hour on your calendar. Treat it like an appointment with the most important person in your life, your future self. Turn off all notifications, close your door, put up a sign that says "Do not disturb." Let people know that during this hour, you are unavailable for anything that isn't life-threatening. The third discipline is evening planning. How you end your day determines how you begin your next day. Most people end their day mindlessly. They watch television until they're tired, then go to bed without any thought about tomorrow. They wake up unprepared, unclear about their priorities, and immediately fall into reactive mode. Successful people end their day intentionally. They spend 15 minutes reviewing what they accomplished, what they learned, and what they want to achieve tomorrow. They write down their 3 most important tasks for the next day. They prepare everything they need to execute their morning routine and power hour. This simple practice eliminates decision fatigue and mental resistance. When you wake up, you don't have to think about what to do. You already know. You don't have to waste mental energy deciding your priorities. You decided them the night before. You can move directly into action instead of spending precious morning minutes planning. The fourth discipline is weekly review. Every Sunday, spend 1 hour reviewing your week. What worked? What didn't? What patterns are you noticing? What adjustments do you need to make? Look at how you spent your 168 hours. How many hours went to sleep? How many to work? How many to entertainment? How many to personal growth? How many to family? How many to health? Most people never do this analysis. They live each week unconsciously, then wonder why their years feel wasted. They repeat the same unproductive patterns week after week, year after year, getting the same unsatisfying results. The weekly review gives you the data you need to make intelligent adjustments. If you spent 40 hours on entertainment, but only 2 hours on personal development, you know why your life isn't changing. If you spent 50 hours working but achieved no significant results, You know you're busy but not productive. The fifth discipline is monthly goal review. Every month, evaluate your progress toward your yearly goals. Are you on track? Are you ahead? Are you behind? What needs to change? Most people set goals in January and forget about them by February. They have no system for tracking progress, no method for making adjustments, no process for staying accountable. Then December arrives and they wonder where the year went. Successful people treat their goals like a business treats its budget. They review regularly, track progress constantly, and make adjustments quickly. They understand that goals without systems are just wishes. Plans without reviews are just fantasies. Now let me give you the 5 non-negotiable daily activities that every successful person practices. These are so important that nothing, and I mean nothing, should prevent you from doing them. First, read for at least 30 minutes. Not magazines, not newspapers, not entertainment, books that improve your knowledge and skills. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. It keeps your mental muscles strong and your thinking sharp. Second, exercise for at least 30 minutes. Your body is the vehicle that carries your dreams. If you don't take care of it, it won't take care of you. Physical energy directly affects mental energy. When your body is strong, your mind is strong. Third, plan your next day before going to bed. 15 minutes of planning saves hours of confusion. Know exactly what you want to accomplish before you wake up. Fourth, work on your most important goal for at least 1 hour. Not someday, not when you have time, not when you feel like it, every single day. Small daily actions create massive long-term results. Fifth, practice gratitude for 5 minutes. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have. It changes your energy from negative to positive. It transforms your attitude from victim to victor. These 5 activities take less than 2 hours per day. 2 hours out of 24, less than 10% of your time, but they will transform 100% of your life. I don't have 2 hours, you say. Really? You don't have 2 hours out of 24. You can't find 120 minutes out of 1000. Then you don't want to change your life badly enough. You're not serious about success. You're just hoping for it while refusing to work for it. Time blocking is how you protect these activities. Instead of hoping you'll find time for important things, you schedule them. You treat them like appointments that cannot be moved or cancelled. Block your morning routine from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Block your power hour from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Block your exercise from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Block your evening planning from 9 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. Put these blocks on your calendar and protect them like your life depends on it, because it does. When someone asks you to do something during these times, you say, "I'm not available then. Can we find another time?" You don't apologize. You don't make excuses. You don't feel guilty. You simply state that you're not available and offer alternatives. But what about interruptions? What about urgent requests? What about emergencies? Here's the truth. Most urgencies aren't urgent. Most emergencies aren't emergencies. And most interruptions aren't important. Ask yourself this question when someone claims something is urgent. Will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, it's not urgent. It's just convenient for someone else. Learn to distinguish between urgent and important. Urgent things demand immediate attention, but rarely contribute to your long-term success. Important things contribute to your long-term success, but rarely demand immediate attention. Successful people focus on important things. Average people focus on urgent things. That's why successful people create value, while average people put out fires. Now let me give you an immediate action plan. Tonight, before you go to bed, I want you to do something that will change your life. Track every minute of tomorrow. Every single minute from the time you wake up until the time you go to sleep. Write down what you do, and when you do it. 6:30 a.m. Checked phone for 20 minutes. 6:50 a.m. Showered for 15 minutes. 7:05 a.m. Ate breakfast while watching news for 25 minutes. Track everything. At the end of the day, analyze your 1,440 minutes. How many went to sleep? How many to work? How many to entertainment? How many to personal growth? How many to family? How many to health? You'll realize that you're wasting hours every day on activities that don't matter. You'll see exactly where your time goes and why your life isn't changing. You'll have the data you need to make different choices. But tracking is not enough. You must also implement, starting tomorrow. Install one new discipline. Just one. Master it for 30 days before adding another. If you currently have no morning routine, wake up 30 minutes earlier and read for those 30 minutes. If you already wake up early, add the power hour. If you already have both, add evening planning. Build your success habits one brick at a time. Find someone who will hold you accountable. Tell them exactly what you're committing to do and ask them to check on your progress weekly. Accountability turns good intentions into consistent actions. It transforms promises into performance.
Most people avoid accountability because they don't want to disappoint others. But avoiding accountability guarantees you'll disappoint yourself. Choose your disappointment wisely. Track your progress daily. Keep a simple scorecard. Did you complete your morning routine? Yes or no? Did you have your power hour? Yes or no? Did you plan tomorrow? Yes or no? At the end of each week, calculate your percentage. Anything below 80% means you're not serious about changing your life. Remember, you're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be consistent. Perfect is impossible. Consistent is possible. Perfect creates pressure. Consistent creates progress. Measure what matters. Track the activities that create results, not the results themselves. You can't control whether you lose weight this week, but you can control whether you exercise. You can't control whether you get promoted this month, but you can control whether you develop your skills. Focus on what you can control. As we reach the end of our time together, I want you to remember something. Every morning, you are handed 1,440 minutes of pure potential. The same 1,440 minutes that built empires, created masterpieces, and changed the world. The same 1,440 minutes that every successful person who has ever lived used to build their success. You have everything you need. You have the time. You have the opportunity. You have the ability. The only question is whether you have the discipline to use what you have. Success is not about doing extraordinary things. Success is about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. It's about reading when others are watching television. It's about exercising when others are sleeping in. It's about planning when others are procrastinating. It's about working on important things when others are busy with urgent things. The choice is yours. Every minute of every day, you're choosing who to become. You're choosing what kind of life to build. You're choosing whether to drift or to drive, whether to hope or to act, whether to dream or to do. Your 1,440 minutes are waiting. They're waiting for you to stop making excuses and start making progress. They're waiting for you to stop planning and start performing. They're waiting for you to stop wishing and start working. The question is not whether you have time to create the life you want. The question is whether you'll use the time you have. And that choice begins right now, with your very next decision, in your very next minute. Your extraordinary life is just 1,440 minutes away. It always has been. The only difference between who you are and who you could become is how you choose to spend those minutes. Make them count.